Korina, thank you so much for being on Are You Okay? You and I have been DMing, I feel like for many months it's possible.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it has
For
been a while.
yeah. But I'm so excited to have you on the show. I want you to introduce yourself. So maybe you can start by just saying your name, who you are, what you
Yeah.
do.
So my name is Korina Zambrano, and I am a singer-songwriter. I started taking music quite seriously, I would say, this past year, but it's been something that I've done for my entire life, really. I was really involved in theater a lot growing up, but I just graduated from Boston University with a degree in economics and Spanish, and I also bartend and I work as a barista. So busy schedule, but
A
yeah, I like
lot
to.
of hats. That's amazing. Well, I start all of my interviews by asking if
Mhm.
you're doing okay today because my show is called Are You Okay? And it's about like I mean, I'm just like pretty much endlessly trying to get to the bottom of like why everyone writes this like such deep emotional, it's like often sad music, like, and
Mhm.
why we're all so like we're so attracted to that, like as songwriters,
Mhm.
but also as like listeners of music. It's like, oh, why is like 90% of music emotional and sad? I know why, of course, but I always
Mhm.
like to kind of like set almost like an intention by just asking how you're doing, like coming into this interview.
Yeah, I would say today I'm actually quite well. I think that this last year has been the best year of my life, and it's extremely rare that I wake up like not excited to live and keep living. So, yeah.
Yes, we love that.
Yeah, so I'm so grateful for that, and I think the biggest proponent of that is just friendship this year. I think that, like, being in the music community, I've had gained a lot of really amazing friends and just, yeah, like, harness these friendships, like, I wanna hold on to forever, but, yeah, friendship in all capacities has been so essential and helpful to my life, so I'm great, and I think friendship is why.
That's amazing. Do you wanna like actually why we can just kind of like start in the middle. Tell me about what is the Boston music scene like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say that I mean, honestly, I'm pretty new to it, like, really. I
Yeah.
started going to open mics last August, and, yeah, that's where I met pretty much everyone that's, like, in my band currently, and even how, like, I met the person that produced my first 2 songs, and, yeah, I started going to the Lily Pad, and that's just a spot in Cambridge where it's honestly, like, pretty I would say, what's the word? It's quite known. Like, it's definitely,
Yeah.
like, a hub for a lot of people, and, like, I would say a lot of the successful, like, local Boston musicians, like, start at the Lily Pad, and then, like,
Yeah.
it just I don't know, it's a hub for, like, all kinds of people,
It's
and
also
yeah.
historical. Like the Lily
Yes,
Pad is like a very famous like jazz club
exactly.
essentially,
That's
right?
yes, yes.
I studied when I lived in Boston, I studied music and I like had to go up there for like assignments for like my jazz history class
Oh,
a
no
lot.
way! Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes. Okay,
Historical was the word I
amazing.
was looking for, but yes, you're
Yes.
totally, totally right. But yeah, I would say that it's honestly, like, the music scene is I would say it's almost a little undercover. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
it's not as prominent, but it's very rich, if that
Mm,
makes like, from my experience, at least, is that, like, I feel like I had to find it, but, like,
mm-hmm.
now that I'm in it, I really feel, like, in it, and it's crazy to see, like, how interconnected everyone is, like, everyone knows each other, or at least, like, someone in someone else's band or, like,
Yeah,
so on and so forth, but, yeah, I would say it's, very, very connected, like, a very connected scene.
that's amazing. What was it like going in like a year ago, not having a big online presence? Like now you have three singles out, you're coming out with more music, but what was it like to kind of go in sort of without that? Was it
Yeah.
challenging? Did it was it
I
like,
would
oh, I actually
say
have nothing to lose? Like what was that like?
yeah, I think, like, a big thing was I just kind of, pushed pushed it off for a really long time because, like, I felt like I wanted to come in prepared, if that makes
Mhm.
sense, and I think that's why I just, like I kept, like, procrastinating, like, going to open mics or, like, going and just trying to, like, connect with people or put myself out there, and I think what I really felt was definitely, like, a bit of it was nerve-wracking at first, like, when I think about, like, the first couple times I went to open mic to, like, go and play, I would play original songs, but I would have these intense nerves, and I'd be, like, shaking before I go up there, and my face gets all bright red, and, like yeah, like, I definitely had, like, a bit of, stage fright, like, I love performing, and I've always found, like, performing, like, in theater, like, especially in an ensemble was always, like, easy, but I think, yeah, like, the solo stuff always gave me a bit of nerves, and I think I learned a lot really quickly, and I honestly feel like meeting people and discovering new music is what helps me the most in kind of developing my sound more and helping me to, like, try out new sounds or even, like, sing and write songs in a way that, like, I physically didn't have the confidence to do before, and
Mhm.
now I feel like I could be a bit bolder. So
Yeah. That's sick. That's so cool. I feel like there's nothing better than feeling influenced by other people. And I always love like if I go out and see live music and then I'm like, I have to go home and write a million songs. Like that's the
Yeah, yeah.
best feeling in the world. If yeah, if like other people can influence you to like, oh, I want to try that, or like, oh my God, that line, like I need to remember that line. I feel like that
Yeah,
happens to me all the time where I'm like, why
definitely.
didn't I write that? Oh my God.
I know, I even think, like, finding out what other people are listening to is another really, really like, it's so helpful to me, like, I feel like the more I expand my, like, discography of, like, artists that I listen to, the I would say, yeah, like, it definitely has a huge influence on, like, what I'm writing and yeah, like, just even how I'm approaching songs. Like, the creative process is a lot different now, and I even have started to, like, collaborate with some people, and that's super fun.
Mm,
But yeah.
cool. What are you listening to right now? Like
Ooh,
what's been inspiring you?
ooh, I would say, like, Elliott Smith has been really influential this past
Mm.
year. Even the Beatles have been really influential. I would say, like, overall, though, like, in my life, I would say my top artist would be, someone called Matt Maltese. I don't know if you've heard of him or
I
listened to him.
haven't.
No? Oh my gosh. He is just an insanely, wildly talented, like, storyteller in his music, and, like, his lyricism and just the way that he, like, can craft, like, just these masterpieces, I don't know. I think, like, lyrically, he has some of, like, the most potent writing, like, I have ever
Okay,
encountered.
wow.
Yeah, I
You'll have
love him just, like,
to
his
definitely send me some of his stuff. I'll play it on the show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely,
That's
yeah, I like him a lot, and yeah, I've just kind of been getting into, like, Fiona Apple, the
yeah.
Cranberries, and, like, Jeff Buckley, like, I feel like that whole I
Yes.
was missing that for a long time, and I feel like I
I
finally, like, just tapped into that.
I feel like I could write like a discography on that's not even the right word. I feel like I could write a novel on Jeff
Yeah.
Buckley. Like, yeah, such a under I mean, he's so like infamous, obviously, but like I feel underrated in like the scope of like how he pushed music forward. Like I
Oh,
am
absolutely.
yeah, I'm obsessed. Obsessed with that album that he had. It's so good. Um, anyway, um, what like I'm curious given your theater sort of background, like I'm assuming that that's almost like your entrance into music, maybe. Did you have influences growing up? Like when did you turn from being like a theater girly to like being a music girl?
I would say I would say they kind of were side by side for a while. I think theater
Yeah.
definitely had, like, the limelight for me, and I think it was just, like, it was really, like, a confidence thing. Like,
Mm.
I I did a lot of, like, vocal training when I was younger, so I sang, like I practiced a lot of like musical theater and also like classical music.
Hmm.
Um, and I've like always wanted to kind of like incorporate those. And the strange thing is that like I didn't the two like didn't intersect, I guess, for a while. Like they were kind of parallel. Like I had my singer-songwriter music and it was so soft and so slow and so
Hmm.
sad. Granted, my music is still a little sad now, which is like why I'm on the show. But I think I think like I didn't see like I wasn't able to like connect those two things, like bring like that power and you know just that comes with like these ballads and musical theater. I wasn't able to like connect that to my songwriting. Like I don't know what it was, but I think I saw the biggest change when I got to college probably because
Hmm.
that's when I auditioned for a few musicals at because I studied at PU. I auditioned for some and I didn't get in and I was like, "Oh, well, I guess that part of my life is over." I just kind of like stopped. But I always had the music, like it was always on the side and it was never something like I guess would like, if I were introducing myself to someone, like, that would be quite low on the list of the,
Hmm.
ways to introduce myself, but I think yeah, like, I feel like there was the biggest shift when I was like, "Oh, I'm going to say I'm a musician before anything." That's
Yeah.
the very first thing I'm gonna tell people about myself, and that has, like I just, like, speaking it into existence, I think, has
Yeah.
been really helpful in, like, developing that confidence.
That's amazing. That's really, really cool. I feel like there is some overlap between like musical theater and like classical music and like classic rock and like the
Mhm.
Beatles and like kind of a lot of those artists that you mentioned, like there is somehow there's almost like a lot of those artists you mentioned are like learn the theory and then throw it out the window type of artists. And I feel
Yeah.
like that can be so helpful. Like it's like almost like gives you so much more to work with in a lot of ways. Like
Yeah.
I know for me, I'm not like classically trained at all. And I do like some music, but it's like, oh, I actually feel so limited because I do just like write my little sad girl songs on my guitar with like my chords. And it's like, oh, I wish I could be like, oh, yes. And I should be doing a third and a fifth and a harmony and blah, 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 and all
Yeah,
this stuff.
yeah.
Or like get big sometimes. Like, I think it's really cool to have that as like almost like a tool in your tool belt to use. And it totally comes out in your music. Like, that's amazing. I can tell, like, it makes a lot of sense that that's sort of like your
Oh.
background.
That's so interesting you say that. Thank you very much. I think it definitely helps with, like, crafting a melody, um,
Totally.
like, yeah, having yeah, just any kind of, like, expansive knowledge or just, yeah, like, listening to different things. I would say that, um wait, I had a thought. Hang on. What was I about to say? Oh, I think, like, it is something I do want to work on more is,
Yeah.
like, I feel like I took a theory class kind of well recently and I still I feel like that's another thing I'm trying to like intersect is like trying to develop it's really hard for me to sit down and like think like oh I'm going to use this specific type of chord progression or I'm going to write in a minor key today like I don't like think
Yeah,
about that.
totally,
It,
totally.
it's
You
just
you
like
also like you don't need to do that to write good music either.
yeah,
It's just it's almost like oh it's you there's more like access. Like it just it makes everything easier, you
yeah,
know?
I
Yeah.
agree with you.
All right. So I want to hear, well, I definitely want to hear about some of the new music you've been working on, but
Yeah.
I got a chance to listen to the songs that you had that were out and I want to talk
Mhm.
about Hey Missy. I think it's such a sweet, sweet song, and we will
Thank
definitely
you.
play it on the show. But I was wondering, like, it has such a sweet story, or I don't even know if "sweet's" the right word, but it is. It's like this sort of sweet, soft
Mhm.
story, and I listened to it, and I really related, and I find it to be like a deeply relatable song. And I was wondering, I had asked you before if you'd be comfortable sort of sharing how you wrote that song.
Yeah, definitely. So that's actually one of like my older songs. I wrote that back in 2022. Yeah, I guess I wrote it back in like the very beginning of 2022. Um And it was kind of like about this ongoing relationship I had with someone. We'd always just like missed each other. Like we were
Mm.
always like dating someone else, or like we're with partners that like didn't want us talking to each other, and it was super fair. Like we probably, you know, like I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Like why you wouldn't
Oh
want
my
us.
God.
But yeah, we had like a very, very intense connection. And it's someone that like absolutely influences like my life to this day.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, I wrote the song like when I was away, I was abroad, and I I don't know where I was, but like I had this idea, like this line in my head, like, "Hey Missy, tell me that you miss me." And I was like, "Oh," I was like, "That could like really be a song." And then I just like this it unfolded in itself because like it literally is just the story of like what
Yeah.
happened. Like yeah, like kind of line for line. It was, you know, in a time where we really weren't supposed to be talking to each other. But I would always like try to kind of we'd always find a way to like reach out to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And we had this like it's a queer song, and it's very telling, like the way that this person and I used to like communicate with each other was through like playlists. Like we would like
Oh
I
no.
know, I know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we would like
Yeah.
constantly like stalk each other's like Apple Music and like
No.
make playlists to like tell the other person like how we're
It's so
feeling.
gay. It's
It
so
is,
gay.
no, it is so gay. And
Yeah.
I think like for me, with my very first release, I was like, I really want to like have my first release like be something that is very openly queer,
Mm-hmm.
because like that was another way to kind of like step into, you know, the scene. Like I wanted to step in very honestly. Um
Wow. That's so
but
beautiful.
yeah, so I wrote the song like kind of all in one go because, you know, I think a lot of the time for me with songs, like I don't really get to pick when the song is going to be written. Like the song will just write itself, like when it's meant to happen.
And it
And that was
does.
yeah, and that was definitely that case. And yeah, I think it just I tried to really harness like a lot of the regret I was feeling, a lot of like that I wanted to approach it kind of like apologetically. I think it's like there's a bit of like timidity there, so I'm kind of, you know, like I was very like I think my fear was restraining me a lot, and I wanted to kind of find a way to say that in the
Mm-hmm.
song. Um and just like you said, like it's a story that I think a lot of people can probably like connect with, like something like that. Um but yeah, so it was just it's a very honest and real thing. Like I would
Yeah.
say a lot of people can like kind of curate songs and stories that are false. And to a degree, I guess I kind of can. Like some things I like, you know, tell it's like a little bit of a lie when I'm writing a song, but almost always it's like definitely a very real and personal thing that
Yeah.
has happened to me in my life. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's the
I have
story.
like I have like so many questions and comments.
Yeah.
First, I put on, you know how like in the beginning of 2024 everyone was doing like their ins and their outs list.
Yeah.
I like
Yes.
fiercely put on my outs list like Spotify playlists as receipts. Like I was like, you know what we're not doing this year? Stalking other people's Spotify and using it as receipts.
Oh
I was like,
no.
this is
Oh
like
no.
this has
Wait.
plagued the queer community and it must end.
No, but I love to do that. But I love it. I'm like, who is this for? I'm
Oh
like,
my
who did you make
God.
this?
That like truly I like it's possible I would rather have like my text messages be revealed to the world than like my Spotify playlists
I
and who they're
know,
for. Like it's
literally.
very possible. I'm just gonna name that. Like it's not good and it's public. Like truly anyone could go on, but I like don't think of it that way. I'm like this is
Yeah.
2014 Tumblr and I am anonymous and you can't see this
Oh
or
my God.
yeah. Regardless, like so relatable and yeah, I think that a lot of people have someone like you're describing and can relate to an experience like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if like oftentimes when you write songs, are they narrative? Like, are you sort of writing, you said for the song, you basically were able to just kind of like write out what happened. Is that usually how
Yeah.
you write music? Like, is it usually past tense? Like, I know for me, my like most accessible way to write songs is to just like write about like word for word something that happened to me, right? Or like
Yeah.
a relationship that I had or something. Like, is that usually how you are writing? Do you find that that's your inspiration often?
I would say definitely it's yeah, a lot of the time it is a very past tense thing, just as far as like taking a moment where like sometimes it can like harness like a collection of things that I'm feeling.
Mm,
Like that like I feel like Hey Missy was kind of like a story of, 2 years even before that. Like so that was a 2-year development in itself that like that song was kind of, written based off of. But yeah, I would say it's always just when something, like, happens and, like, I need a way to, yeah, like, kind of expel some of that thought.
yeah.
Just, like, if it's positive, if, like, it's it's a lot of yearning, I feel like, too. So that can almost
Mm,
future tense thing. But, yeah, I would say, like, if it's a yearning song, it's probably about, like, something I want to happen, but if it's, like, sad, it's, like, a reflection, you know?
yeah.
Like, I'm just like, "Oh, like, I've been in a lot of pain, like, this
Yeah.
past month." And then, like, I'll just, sit down and yeah, write about that. But I would say, yeah, it's definitely more of a past tense thing for
Yeah,
writing that inspires me the most.
that checks out. Do you want to talk to us about your music that's coming out, your new music?
Yes,
Yeah, tell us what you've been
absolutely.
working on and like when can we expect to hear from
Yeah.
you? Yeah.
So I have a project coming out. It's going to be my EP, my debut EP.
Ah, so exciting.
Yes, I'm so over the moon. It's called Do the Bees Bite. And like that line is not anywhere in the EP. It's just kind
Oh.
of like a funny title. And they kind of like I feel like in my head like the EP is yellow, and so I thought like thematically I just saw like this I don't know. The artwork will be available. You'll see it soon. I'm announcing it on Friday actually to
Oh my gosh.
everybody.
Okay.
But yeah, of course it's fine. Like now and people
Yeah.
I tell everybody like all the time, but
Yes, yes.
it's
This will
gonna be
air Thursday evening
yeah,
anyway, so we'll
no
be
worries.
close. Yeah.
Yeah, Friday is like social media, like official debut. But that's going to be a collection of 6 songs. I've written them like I guess over the course of the oldest one I wrote at the end of 2020 ooh, the end of 2022 was the oldest one, but most of the songs have been written within the past year. And yeah, I started to play these songs live with my band, and after that, I was like, "Yeah, this is what I want to like, I
Mhm.
want this sound. I wanna capture this." So, a lot of it is, like I think for myself, the biggest thing I've always wanted as an artist is that if someone, like, listens to my music and they come to my shows, they're like, "Oh, it sounds the same." And so,
Yeah.
like, because I always felt like my strong suit as an artist was my live performance.
Mhm.
And so I wanted people to have that same experience, like, if you're listening, on some streaming service and yeah, like, I want you to feel that, like, that same energy as though you were, like, at a live show. Because I feel like live music is just magical and, like, yeah, that's
Mhm.
something I think everyone should try to kinda replicate. But yeah, it's 6 songs, and I'm really excited about a lot of them. They're very heartfelt. It definitely starts in a way that, like, I think the whole thing feels really honest. It feels really close to me. I'm so excited that, like, people will be able to hear these songs because we've been playing them for months now, my band and I. I'm so excited that, yeah, it'll be, like, accessible to people, and, yeah, it feels like, it really feels like this is the start. Like,
Yeah.
I'm really, really entering, like, the music world by releasing this, so that's gonna be coming out on August 9th, and my next single, it's called She's Kinda Mean. That song plus a music video will be coming out on July 26th.
Oh my gosh, so exciting. Okay, it's coming up.
Yes.
Well, we will definitely post everything on the Are You Okay Instagram, but tell people where they can find you, where they can stream your music
Oh,
now,
yeah.
and maybe your social media so that they can follow along and
Yeah.
yeah, and follow you when all your stuff does come out.
Definitely. So you can find me on really any streaming service, Korina Zambrano, and my Instagram, Facebook as well, just Korina Zambrano. And I'm working on rebooting my TikTok. I don't know. I like definitely I got a little bitter because I got shadow banned and I was like, I'm done with this app. But
Oh my God. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna like this is such a disruption of where you can please everyone else
okay.
listen along, but today, wait, I don't even know if I can tell this story. Okay, I was posting my close friends story
Yeah.
about something that I'm doing like with my partner in like a very sweet way. It was like a picture of her and I being like really cute together. And I
Yeah.
said, I was like joking on my close friend story and was like, I swear to God, if anyone says anything, like, I'm gonna kill you guys. Like, I said something like that. And they
Yeah.
banned, they removed the content. And I'm like on probation because I like posted something on my close friends. Like, I was bullying my close friends too much on my
Yeah.
story. And I was like, this is so embarrassing and also homophobic. I was like, Instagram, what are we doing?
Insane. No,
Like,
because I definitely I understand you. Like I use that same language with my friends. Like I'm gonna I literally said on my Instagram once, I was like, I'm gonna beat you up and then they removed my content too.
yes. I was like, okay, I will be kinder, Instagram, I guess. Okay, sorry. Your TikTok is being potentially rebooted after the shadow
Yeah.
ban. That's so humbling. I'm so
I
sorry
know.
about
I
that.
just I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like I'm shouting into a void and I'm like, it's not worth it. But I'll get back on there eventually.
Okay.
I'm sticking with the Instagram reels. I kind of like them. They feel more, I don't know, feels a little
Yeah.
more sincere or like controlled.
Yes,
Like
love. Okay, but people can find you on your Instagram, which is what?
Corina Zambrano.
Okay, easy,
Yep.
so easy. And we'll tag you. We already did, but we'll tag you
Excellent.
um so people can find you from the Are You Okay Instagram as well.
Perfect.
Karina, thank you so much for your
Oh my God.
time. I
Thanks for
like
having me.
super, yes, appreciate you. Super excited for you and I am so excited like I'll have to find a way. Like I'm always in Boston to be honest with you. So I
Yeah.
definitely want to know the next time you're playing so I can come see you live.
Yeah, I will actually say, as you mentioned that, so some I guess kind of a big thing I forgot to mention is I'm actually leaving the country.
What?
August, yeah, August, August 19th, I'm leaving Boston. And I'm moving to Paris. Um,
Amazing.
and yeah, and I'm very excited. But I have my last show in Boston, August 12th at the Rockwell Theater, and I'm really trying to sell it out. I really want to sell it out. It's 200 people. I think I can do it. So that's something else I want to tell
Oh my God,
everyone.
amazing.
Make
August
it.
12th. Okay,
Yes.
that's so awesome. That is amazing. Wow, we should like talk off mic about you going to Paris. That's like really
Yes.
exciting and very cool. That's amazing. Okay, well, Karina, thank you so much for being on Are You Okay? We're gonna play some of your music after this so people can get a taste of your music. And yeah, thank you so much for being on Are You Okay? I really
Hey,
appreciate it.
Thank you for
Missy,
having me.
tell me that you miss me. I won't tell nobody if you say you do. Hey, Missy, tell me that you love me. I won't tell nobody if you say it's true. 'Cause I've been spending lots of time on the internet, looking at your content. It's kinda obnoxious how you're posting him knowing I'm gonna see it. Do you really mean it when you say you wish we never met? Hey, Missy, when will you forget 'cause I've been feeling guilty for what I did to you. I've been thinking about that day on the